Participatory democracy, this is different from our current democracy, which is representative democracy, where the mass elect a small group of people to take decisions about the mass. In participatory democracy, or sometimes called deliberative democracy, this is about everybody taking decisions about the things that concern them, about their own self-government. And it takes us back to actually much more traditional Athenian idea of democracy, where ordinary citizens, rather than professional legislators, take the decisions about how to run the city. And this has been tried currently in cities in Brazil. It was tried in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. And it's being done in towns in Europe, and to an extent here in the US, where groups of citizens are invited to take part in debates where decisions really matter, where they're making real decisions about the budget. And the results of these experiences are pretty extraordinary. People respect each other more. There is less partisanship. Decisions are more transparent, and therefore there's less corruption. But also, interestingly, the decisions that result are more equal. Because everybody's included and everybody gets a chance to participate in these discussions, the outcomes in terms of the decisions about the group are much more fair, are much fairer to the people in the group, and there's much more equality results. So in the Brazilian city Porto Alegre, where they've tried this, a World Bank study found that the distribution of services like schools, public transport, other things, was much more equal once they started doing participatory democracy of this kind, where 50,000 people every year take part in debates about how to do the budget. So this is something that can be done. It's practical, it's doable, but it does require us actually to change the way things are done today. No longer do we look to distant legislatures to take these decisions, and let's face it, they're not doing a terribly good job of it. We set up systems locally to make decisions about our own local circumstances, where everybody gets a chance to participate.
We have many tools to enable citizens to be engaged in policy making. Of course, nowadays the society is really connected. So there are a lot of expectations around using new technology to be engaged in policy debates.
The European Commission can lead by example, so they can, first of all, with all of their different policy discussions, really try to engage as widely as possible. They've been doing so already through the various platforms, and it's quite difficult at a European level to really try and get down to end users.
We as policymakers need to adapt much more to the channels, as you say, modern technology, social media, through which especially young people communicate their views on pretty much everything, and we see an enormous engagement, so it's a matter of adapting to this.
Through online tools we can try to bridge this gap. It's not the tool in itself, but actually the kind of process, how we can ensure that the citizens, through those online tools, for example, either get the right information that allows them to get to understand better the policies and get to understand better how they are related with what they do on a daily basis, and how those online tools can actually make a difference on how collect the opinions of the citizens.
It's a misconception when we sometimes think that, oh, the young people are not engaged in our topics. I think they are super engaged, and we've seen the tremendous impact that youth engagement can have, for example, during the Arabic Spring. It's just a matter of finding the ways to accommodate that engagement into the decision-making processes.
It's not so much based on the and e-politics or e-democracy or e-participation. It's the same problem we've been facing all the time. Colin Crouch is talking of a post-democratic status of our society, and of course we have that when we do online politics as well. It's people being disenchanted with the political system, it's people asking for a real change, and we also had it in the discussion now. What we are doing right now is we are still sort of caught in a political discourse that might be overrated, and we have to move on and give people some real power, or give power back to the people.
The main challenge is really to bring content. It's not so much a technical challenge, it's not so much about the reaching out, it's really about how to bring a content that is really meaningful in order then to make the reach out possible.